What it do, what it do? How y'all feeling? Welcome to Ash Neil's Radio. I am your host, Ash Neil. That is I. So, we talking to y'all. Yes. Piers Morgan had another panel, of course. And this was about the war, again, of course. And I think we're in, week 6. Yes. But this interview was kind of interesting because he had Joe Kent on there, along with this guy Will Chamberlain, and not Will Chamberlain, but Will Chamberlain. And this debate got kind of interesting because it seemed like the American hubris or Western hubris, shout out to our allies, has got us into this quagmire, and we can't get out of it. So instead of trying to figure a way out, we just double down and get arrogant and tell the world that, we're allowed to be the bullies. I want to go into this debate and give my 2 cents.
Israel, as we speak, is continuing to pound Lebanon. Israeli officials say the ceasefire doesn't include Lebanon and the war must go on, a direct contradiction of the Pakistani and US position. Today, the leader of Israel's opposition said that if this ceasefire is as good as it gets, it will amount to, quote, one of the most severe strategic failures in Israeli history. None of this bodes well for a permanent end to the war, unless, that is, President Trump is about to break with Bibi Netanyahu. Somewhat lost in the excitement of Trump's vow to end Iranian civilization yesterday, New York Times released an extraordinary report on how Netanyahu made the case for war in the White House. The Israeli premier, it says, planned a simple mission with swift regime change.
Of course they did. And I think that's why they're losing the PR battle. Because their public relations is just down the drain. And I think their victim card has been overused. And people are waking up. They see what's going on in South Lebanon and, of course, what happened in Gaza. And it's just not working with the masses anymore.
To debate all of this, I'm joined by Joe Kent, the former director of the US National Counterterrorism Center, and Will Chamberlain, the senior counsel at the Article 3 project. Well, welcome to both of you. Joe Kent, a lot of what you said when you resigned appears to have been pretty much confirmed by that New York Times report, which is extremely detailed and paints a picture of Netanyahu in the White House, in the Situation Room, with the head of Mossad appearing on a screen next to him, in which he laid out a 4-point plan for why this would work: decapitating the regime, the people would rise up, they would be too powerless to shut the Strait of Hormuz, and so on.
Think about that. That's how arrogant Benjamin Netanyahu is. He thought he can come in to our Situation Room, and I heard the president was sitting like across from him, not at the head. And then they're talking with the head of Mossad on I guess some kind of Zoom call, and they're basically discussing how this plan is going to work out. We are going to go in, we're going to arm the citizens, and then we're going to take over once they started to get killed, something like that. But that was their plan, and it kind of no pun intended, but blew up in their face.
What do you feel about the fact there's now this ceasefire, albeit it seems quite a perilous one? Is it a recognition, do you think, by President Trump that he's got to get out of this?
I think it's a good thing that President Trump took the opportunity to enact a ceasefire and to get both sides to the negotiating table. I think what's key, though, is that President Trump has to realize in order to accomplish our strategic goal, which is ending this conflict, reopening the Straits of Hormuz, and maintaining the alliances that we have in the Gulf, he has got to restrain the Israelis. The Israelis have a different strategic goal than we do. They want to take down the entire regime. They don't care how long it takes. They don't care how much we have to commit in terms of blood and treasure. So the Israelis and us have parted ways in terms of strategic objectives. We have to be honest with ourselves. It sounds like, considering the fact that someone shared the origins of this war with the New York Times, that is recognized now by this administration.
Think about that. So it was anti-Semitic for Cenk Uygur to say, hey, man, why don't we send some of the IDF troops if we're going to do boots on the ground? Well, a lot of people said that's not cool. But it seemed like we have different objectives. It looked like, according to Joe Kent, Israel was dragging us into this. Right, Marco?
If we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed.
But it's funny because I don't believe that America calculated this correctly. Because we can see what Trump is doing. He's trying to save face. He's trying to say, hey, I'm going to blow up your whole civilization. And then say, all you got to do is open the strait, even though we don't need the strait. But it's funny because I think he's been trying to like pull back away from Israel's objectives. Yes. So now it almost seemed like what Pierce said, Joe Kent, it looked like you were right. This has Israel all over it.
Strain the Israelis, take away key components of the military aid that we give them so that they lack the capability to go on the offense and to spoil this ceasefire.
Will Chamberlain, your response to that?
I mean, I think that's a completely incoherent idea.
Ah! Of course you do.
First off, it presupposes we have the ability to take away their offensive capabilities. Newsflash, they already have them. We can't just seize them. Are we going to invade Israel and take their planes? We can't.
Think about that. We can't even do anything about it because the planes are there already. Bro, think about that. Don't they need to rearm some of those missiles? Are we giving them $3.8 billion every year? So if they got the planes already and they should be good, why the hell are we continuing to pay them $3.8 billion every year? Oh, because sometimes the ammo runs out. And that's just going to be a private jet if it ain't got no artilleries on it. So, yes, maybe we should pull some of that funding back and see if they can handle it themselves.
Remember, they launched the 12-day war on their own. So, I mean,
No, but
even
America,
the debate
but
itself
on that
is
point,
sort of
Will,
silly.
on that point, the Americans could withdraw their funding.
Sure, but it
the
wouldn't-
billions
it
of
wouldn't-
dollars, the billions of dollars that go to the Israelis, which they use to fund their own military, that could just be withdrawn. So America isn't powerless; it can exercise that power.
Right, but the offensive
some of the
capabilities they would need to
logistics,
strike
it doesn't
Iran, they
work.
already have. They're the second biggest air force in the world today. Even if we said we're not going to give you $4 billion a year going forward, that wouldn't stop anything.
Think about that. Wait, it's the second biggest military on Earth? Really? So why the fuck are we giving them $3.8 billion?
Silly approach to foreign policy because we haven't hammered out final terms with the Iranians yet. We're still in the middle of negotiations. The idea that we would restrain our ally, who, by the way, just helped us achieve one of the greatest military victories of the modern era.
What victory? What? Am I missing it? I think they believe this was a victory. I know that the 10-point plan wasn't agreed upon, but let's be real. Wait, they just closed the strait. Sorry, they just closed the strait again. But think about that. We had the Strait of Hormuz open prior to this attack, and when it was open, it was free to transport ships that were in the oil business. Now they opened it temporarily, but they were charging a $2 million toll fee. Yes, a toll fee. So all this chest out posture and shit. Hey, these camel riders, they got a little bit more power than we thought.
We would restrain them instead of trying to use the threat of continued belligerence from them to extract more punitive terms from the Iranians is silly. It's just completely antithetical to how things should work. And the idea that we need to be worried about our Gulf neighbors who would be upset if we didn't restrain the Israelis is also absurd, because our Gulf neighbors are on our side. And this war has not only solidified our position militarily, it's solidified it diplomatically, because all those countries are furious with the Iranians and are on our side and want to strengthen cooperation with both us and Israel.
You sure about that? I don't know. I don't believe you. these Gulf countries were actually mad. They were wondering why the hell they weren't being protected, even though they were hosting American bases on their land. And they thought, like, this is the top military power in the world. So if they can have some kind of protection for the second best military in the form of an Iron Dome, so the Gulf regions was like, shit, we'll be protected. Right? Shit. Wrong. Ha! So you mean to tell me that these Gulf regions took all those bombs from their global South neighbors, and they're happy about it? They're okay with it? They're mad at Iran? Come on, bro. It's not working. We know what's about to happen. We are about to see a shift in the dollar.
New York Times report, it seems to be incredibly well sourced. So somebody's been talking who was in that room. What is clear from that is that the Israelis, maybe this was an honest mistake on their part, a misreading of the situation, but they certainly appear to be of the belief, if you took out the Ayatollah and some of the top people with him, that this would then lead to an uprising by the people, and that amid all this chaos, there would be no ability to close the Strait of Hormuz.
Is that what they thought? My God, stupid. Because how evil of a plan that is. Think about it. Imagine 92 million people persuaded by Israel, a bunch of Israeli agents handing out weapons. You mean to tell me that they're going to go out and overthrow their regime, their government, with a couple of AKs given to them by Westerners? And if shit get bad, meaning they get caught and they're subject to death by hanging, they're going to be inclined to do said act? Is that what Benjamin Netanyahu thought? Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy as hell. Because if you think about it, right? How is that not a terrorism? How is that not a sleeper cell? How come us good guys won't call it out? Why won't we call out the Mossad agents that were on the ground with the treasonous Iranians?
Yes, they got rid of the Ayatollah, but he's just been replaced by other similarly minded people. And then there's been no uprising by the Iranian people whatsoever. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz has been held in a kind of stranglehold by the Iranians in a very powerful way. It has to be conceded, which has caused enormous damage to the global economy. They've basically controlled that strait now for 4 or 5 weeks, and it's caused hell. And none of that appears to have been predicted by the Israelis in their sales pitch to Trump to join them on this war.
Exactly. I don't know why Trump had to be told what would happen. I think we all knew what would happen if it got bad. They were going to close the strait. That was common sense. That was the power they have. We all knew it. I knew it. And I'm a nobody. So you mean tell me everybody in that situation room and all these intelligent motherfuckers, they didn't have a clue, or they didn't tell Trump that if you do this, they might block the oil? Nobody told him that? Come on, man.
Well, so I think you're overstating a number of things there. First off, I mean, the Iranian Navy is gone, right? They're controlling the strait by threatening to shoot at people, but they don't have any naval forces meaningfully in the area.
Really? Okay, so if that's the case, how are they controlling the strait? Please tell me. Because, hey, if you, with your Western hubris, believe that they have no more firepower, then yes, do like Trump said. Just go. And we got your back. How many ships are doing that? With that $2 million? Or without it? How many of those ships have this arrogance, like you, and saying, hey, these motherfuckers ain't got no military. I'm about to get my oil. Who's doing it? Who's doing it? Are they really getting through? Are y'all telling me that Iran was bluffing? There's no mines in the Strait. Well, prove it, please, because I don't believe you.
Remember, they were thinking that card, which is their only trump card, that's the maximum.
But it's a
escalation
very
they have.
powerful card. And it's one that
Well,
the Israelis,
they were saying 2 weeks ago,
did not think they had the power.
Right.
According to the New York
Israelis
Times
might have made a
report.
slight misjudgment on that effect. It's war. I think the
That's a
Iranians made a much
massive
bigger
misjudgment, isn't
misjudgment
it?
overall when you talk about the complete destruction of their military capability.
See, how do you know that you're not misjudging? You could be thinking that their military is decimated, and then you're going to put people in a situation where they're going to bring out missiles we never seen before.
Iran hints at never-seen-before missiles for the next round.
It's a message that they have these capabilities that they didn't publicly state.
And we have more major updates as Iran has fired some kind of secret missile.
This K-4 missile being the furthest that we know about just went twice as far, or we think this is the one they used. The big question here is we don't know what they used.
Take away the Strait of Hormuz issue, then you've got overwhelming military dominance by the Americans and Israelis. Yes, the Iranians would have still attacked their neighboring Gulf states, but that would be a military conflict part of it. The fact that the Strait of Hormuz has been shut pretty much for 5 weeks, that has been an asymmetric war, which, you know, with the best will in the world, has been wielded very successfully by the Iranians.
Ow. We don't get our oil from there. Well, at least that's what Trump said. He said we'll be fine. Pierce, we'll be fine without the Strait. But open it up, you crazy bitches. That's what he said. I'm going to nuke y'all. Not nuke, but your civilization is going to be no longer. But we don't need the Strait open. It's crazy. Pierce, he said that y'all need the Strait more than us. What are y'all going to do?
And
2
prior
weeks
to this,
ago, let me
this
finish my
war,
point, Joe, and then you can speak. 2 weeks ago, the Iranians were saying, we're not going to give up the Strait of Hormuz unless we get a permanent peace deal, a permanent commitment to non-aggression and reparations. What are they trading it for as of yesterday? 2 week ceasefire, no promises. They can't even extract a commitment from the Israelis to stop fighting Hezbollah. That's how badly they're beaten.
That was your point? I hate when people do that. They interrupt motherfuckers. Like, hey, whoa, give me a second. Let me cook. And then they say some old basic ass shit like that they probably said already. Land the plane. Oh, wait. I said this already. Hezbollah, well, if you really want to talk about it, I don't know if it was Ben Gavir or Smoltrich. One of them. Don't quote me, but I think they lost a son in this conflict, this recent conflict. By who? You want to know? Guess. Yes. The Hezi of the Butlas and the southern of the Lebanon. Yes. The people that was, another word, decimated by pagers. You mean to tell me they can't get Hezbollah under control when they are still sending rockets into northern Israel? You mean the people that was blown up by pagers? They still are attacking northern Incredible. Help me make sense. How do y'all define winning?
Well, Joe, he called you silly and incompetent, I think, earlier. So this is your chance to respond.
So prior to this war, the Straits of Hormuz were transited by anybody trading oil for free. Post-war, the Iranians are going to be able to extract a fee. That's one of their negotiating chips they have now.
No, they won't.
Exactly. And this motherfucker say, no, they won't. Prove it. Prove it.
Prior to the war, the Ayatollah that we killed was actually at the negotiating table with us. The reason why none of this was taken into account is because the Israelis didn't really care about what would happen to the Straits of Hormuz. They didn't care what would happen to our Gulf allies. Our Gulf allies right now still technically are with us, but the fact that we were unable to provide them with security guarantees lowers our status in the region.
Yep. And they noticed it. It was crazy because we were watching America disarm South Korea, just so they can give FAD batteries to some of the Gulf states. Yes, bruh. Mind you, North Korea is now a nuclear power. Shit. And we were protecting our allies in South Korea with the deterrence that Israel has. So the Gulf region's like, hey, bro, we got y'all out here chilling, and you got these hotels of mine getting bombed because yo bases got blown up. So now your military personnel need to come to these local hotels, and now these hotels are legitimate targets. Hey, bro, we need some kind of interceptors, man. You got anything? Yeah, they went and took it from South Korea. Shit.
Threaten the petrodollar in the region. And so right now we're in a weaker position because we listened to a foreign government that had a different strategic goal in mind than we did. So it's great that we got the ceasefire. We need to maintain that ceasefire, and we have to actually withhold things from the Israelis, which we can do. The Israelis do have a modern air force, but they rely on us for a lot of the logistics, the refueling, in order to be able to reach into Iran. So we very much are in the driver's seat of what we.
Well, that's not true, Joe. That's just obviously false because we didn't help them with refueling.
No, it's 100% true. They can't reach into. They cannot reach into Israel. I've actually been in the military, man. I've been part of these operations.
Exactly. You got this skinny ass motherfucker telling Joe Kent like, "Hey, bro, that's not how this shit work in the military." Joe's like, hey, have you served? Because I have. I was just serving before this nigga Trump kicked me out. So how you going to tell me how these operations go? It's funny as shit because he's literally about to go into this whole detail on how these military operations go.
We weren't participating in the offensive operations.
Well, we helped them out a good.
Struck the hell out of
well, we helped them out a good deal with logistics. They can't sustain operations without us. They wouldn't be able to continue to sustain operations all the way into Iran with conventional military forces in any meaningful way without our support. We have to pull that back. We also have to pull back their ability to go on the offense outside of their borders because it's going to interfere with the peace that we're trying to achieve. Right now, we're paying for their defense, we're paying for the offense, and also in terms of our status in the region and our ability to keep commerce and oil flow going out of the Straits of Hormuz and the Middle East. All of that is being negatively affected.
What does that look? That's how you look. Will's just sitting there. Every time he disagrees with something, he's like, as if what Joe is saying is stupid. I don't know. Hey, Will, Chamberlain. I think the requirements. How old are you? Because you might meet the requirements to go ahead and enlist. If you like this war so bad, why don't you go enlist, bro? I think it could be like 42. You know what I mean? You big Billy Badass. You know how these operations go. Why don't you strap up and fill in Joe Kent's shoes?
Listening to a foreign government. So we have to put Israel back in the junior partner role if we're going to accomplish our strategic
Why couldn't
objectives.
you persuade Pete Hegseth of any of this?
Well, I tried. So therefore,
and he didn't agree with you, and he has better intelligence than you. You weren't privy to any of this stuff. Like, you just don't know. That's why you're now on the outside doing podcasts instead of inside the administration trying to shape policy.
Bruh. And he think that shit working. This old fucking PragerU wound up toy think that, oh, I can just disrespect this veteran and tell him, oh, that's why you not there no more. They didn't like you. You not even making policy. Bruh, shut up. That shit ain't working.
You don't know.
Well,
you didn't persuade him.
From the inside. Like, look, man, my letter of resignation has been out there. What's important right now is that we support President Trump in getting this peace deal and making sure it actually sticks. The problem is, as confirmed by the New York Times, that was well sourced from within the West Wing, the Israelis were in the driver's seat for all of this. Well, if you read the article, I think it's pretty evident. If you know how leaks work in Washington, D.C. with the New York Times.
Well, if you say if you say it wasn't well sourced, Will, which part are you contesting?
Oh, no, it was well sourced. You guys are just mischaracterizing how much influence Israel had based on what was written in that article.
What? Did you read it?
Yeah, I read it completely. And then after the Israelis were offline, right, then you had the meeting between the U.S. principals, in which John Ratcliffe and others were talking about, the Israelis are overselling their ability to achieve regime change. That's probably not going to happen. But they said, on what we've thought for a while is when it comes to missiles and when it comes to their ballistic shield and when it comes to their Navy, we have the capability to do that, and we should do that.
Why are you stuttering? Shut up. Now, that's the funny part, because these motherfuckers had two different objectives, right? Israel and us. I gotta say us. U.S. And it was funny because we went in there for the uranium that we destroyed last year. But Israel wanted regime change, right? They're like, nah, fuck that. I know that the Fordo Mountain was decimated and we seen the uranium plant get blown up, but we still need to go in again. It's imminent. We got to go now. We know where the Ayatollah's sleeping. So we helped him. That's our friend, right? We wasn't gonna let our friend go into the woods by himself, right? So the motherfucker went in the woods, did his thing, and we had his back. Once we did what we did, we like, bro, Ayatollah gone. Their military's gone. What do we need to be here for? So it's like shit. It's like a waste of time for America to still be joining forces with the IDF. If y'all are the second best military, what is our further objective? If us, the U.S., if we had no point of changing a regime, why are we still there?
We didn't get suckered into a regime change war. From the outset, American goals did not include regime change. From Trump's very first speech,
Donald Trump literally talked about regime change early on. Literally. Donald Trump literally said
regime change was an objective of the war. Fact check me on that after. He never did.
You don't think Donald Trump ever mentioned regime change?
Incorrect. I didn't say that. I said it wasn't a military objective
Donald
of the
Trump
war. He
is
said it would
still
be nice to
claiming
have,
today
but it's not
that
the
he
goal
has
of the war.
affected. He's claiming today he's affected regime change. What are you talking about?
He's affected it. That's because he's basically saying we killed all the senior leadership, which we did, by the way, in an unprecedented fashion.
Goalposts, move. It's like, wait, bro, talk to me, man. Talk to me. He was talking about regime change, but he did back off. To Will's credit, Trump was backing off. He was like, all right, well, shit, we already changed the regime, right? I think we did, right? We killed all the guys. That's Trump's version of regime change. He's like, shit, we're good. He even stated in a recent interview or Truth Social post that the new regime might be working with us. What? Wait, who? What new regime? Wait, you know somebody? You talked to Ayatollah's son? Come on, Trump. It's just funny. But Will's like, hey, man, stop thinking like that. Trump wasn't trying to overthrow the government. That wasn't his objective. Really, Will? Come on. We had Scott Bessent explaining that back, late last year, we were the reason why the Iranian currency was falling. Yes, we're the reason. Hey, us, the U.S. Scott Bessent said it, that we were the reason why the Iranians were protesting. Do you think the Iranians were protesting? You think we tanked their currency? Because we wanted some uranium that we destroyed months earlier? Or do you think Trump was trying to infect a regime change?
It was an original military objective of the war.
Right
Fact check
now?
me on this, man. Go look at his original statements.
I've read them all, mate.
It would be
He
nice to
changed-
have, but it's not an objective of the war.
Trump changed his goalposts every 10 seconds. That's been part of the
this has been remarkably consistent from Hegseth, Rubio on down. Go look at their public statements. What did they say? An official objective of Operation Furious regime change.
Why did America launch a preemptive strike against Iran? Well,
to essentially prevent them from building up a further ballistic missile capability as a shield behind which they would be able to develop their nuclear weapons program. That's the core reason.
That was not the reason given by the Secretary of State.
At all. So stop trying to gaslight us. Come on. Make it make sense. Hey, Will, he's asking you, what was that sentence that came out of Little Marco's mouth for the reason we had to do it now?
Look it up, man. He said it over and over and over again.
On camera, he said when he was first asked the reason the United States launched a preemptive strike against Iran was because another country, brackets Israel, had indicated they were going to attack Iran, and therefore the Americans knew there would be attacks against some of their interests in the Middle East, so they got in first. Marco Rubio's
That was the reason for the timing,
on camera.
not the reason for the strike. The strategic reason for the strike, which Rubio explained in that very same press conference. I remember the exact one you're talking about. It's like a gaggle, and I think he's in Congress after having a meeting with people. This is very early in the war. He says the reason for the strike is to prevent them from developing their ballistic missile shield further. The reason for the timing, like why today, why February 28th, was the fact that they had this intelligence about the meeting of Ayatollah Khamenei and everybody else, and that Israel was going to go ahead with that under any circumstances. So we should do it now.
Okay. So, you just prove Pierce's point. What do you mean? Oh, no. You can play some matches with your fucking self in a room. Lights off, by yourself. But not with us. We're not stupid, bro. What are you talking about? Oh, nah. He was saying the timing. The reason why we had to do it now is because of we had intelligence. We knew where the Ayatollah was, so that's why we did it now. But the reason, it wasn't regime change. No. These ballistic missiles and all this other stuff that we never talked about. That's what it was. Trust me.
Again, go back and look at that. I know exactly what press conference you're talking about. And I don't think your memory, you are remembering one piece of it, but you're not remembering the whole.
It's a pretty significant piece when the Secretary of State of the United States, on record, says that the reason for the preemptive strike by the United States was because Israel was attacking Iran. And then we hear from Antony Blinken, one of his predecessors, that Netanyahu had tried to sell this to both Biden and Obama, and when they both rejected the opportunity to join him in attacking Iran, guess what? Israel didn't attack. So it looks like he got third time lucky with Trump, who went along with it, but had Trump said no, I don't think Israel would have attacked.
Exactly. So you mean to tell me that Antony Blinken dealt with Netanyahu before, and they told him no. Okay. So, Will, what does that tell you? Hey, Will. Does that tell you that the problem wasn't seriously affecting us, or was it affecting Israel? Was it imminent for us to go in there and bomb a girls' school for some uranium that we blew up months earlier? Or have Benjamin Netanyahu been trying to get all of our presidents to do this dumb shit that Trump just did? Come on, bro. Help me out, because you're not making sense.
Then why they strike in the 12-Day War?
The only reason the attack
happened. Let's talk about the 12-Day War. Let me bring Joe back in this. The 12-Day War is fascinating because I distinctly remember, and I'm sure Will remember it differently to me, but I remember Donald Trump at the end of the 12-Day War saying that this had put back any aspirations by the Iranians to build a nuclear weapon decades, that we had obliterated their nuclear capabilities. It was done, gone. And here we are 9 months later, having to launch a full-fledged war in Iran because the threat remains apparently not just the same, but so imminent that America had to act immediately.
You're not getting it, Pierce. It's no longer the uranium. We obliterated that. It is now the ballistic missiles. Yes. Shit.
Answer that for me, Joe.
Well, this is what the Israelis do. They've always wanted this regime change war, and so they continually use their influence through official channels and then also through their echo chamber in the media to move the red line. They did this with the enrichment issue. President Trump initially said, our policy is no nuclear weapons for Iran. The Iranian Supreme Leader agreed. There was a lot of space there for negotiations. There was negotiations that were taking place for several months. Then the pro-Israel lobby basically came in and convinced President Trump that the new red line was zero enrichment. 12-Day War happens. Operation Midnight Hammer happens. happens, we take away the ability for them to enrich. The Iranians withhold their proxies. They don't retaliate in any meaningful way. They get right back to the negotiating table. And then we're hearing basically what Will just said. Oh, now we have to go in and attack Iran because of this ballistic missile capability. So the red line moves again every time Israel needs a new justification for the war, and they get the outcome that they want by using their pressure network and their media echo chamber and their official engagements with the U.S. government. They were still worried that we were going to get a deal with the Iranians, and so therefore they went ahead and said, hey, we're going to preemptively go into Iran and attack, knowing that this attack would be against the regime. Iran's reaction to an attack directly against the regime would be to enact their contingency plan, which would be targeting our bases in the region.
Think about that. So Israel, they were nervous. They was like, oh shit, Trump trying to make a deal. Hold on, Trump, don't do that shit. Not yet. We need a regime change, ballistic missile, Fordo Mountain blow up, and women need to show their hair. Like, bro, this goalposts have moved off the field. Fuck her. Move over. Like, there's no more goal to score on.
Actual imminent threat that Iran posed was the attack threat by the Israelis against Iran. There was no imminent Iranian threat attack against us.
No, I don't think there was for a moment. Will Chamberlain, I mean, as we sit here today debating this, the regime remains in place. Trump wants to argue it's different people, therefore it's a new regime. But it's the same people. It's the same regime. It's just the faces of...
Minus the 100 senior leaders who are all dead.
So...
You see, that's what I'm saying. He think that's a gotcha. Minus the few leaders that are dead. Bro, you replace a 80-year-old Ayatollah with a 50-year-old. Don't take no victory laps.
Same regime with the same ideology. It would be like saying you've decapitated the Trump regime, but he's replaced by a bunch of people called Trump. It's like, it's kind of...
I mean, that's what happened in Venezuela, right? We effectively took out one person in Venezuela, now we have a cooperative
the regime hasn't
government.
changed in Venezuela. All that's changed is the president got picked up in the middle of the night and put in a New York prison cell.
Wait. You thought that was a regime change in Venezuela? Really? Oh, Willie. Well, bro, you stupid. So, let me guess. You probably thought that when the vice president of Venezuela gave Trump that Nobel Peace Prize, that she had the right to do it? And that meant that Trump actually earned it? You a special kind of stupid.
His own number two is running it. So the regime is still there. So I think we should be clear about what regime change means, right? With my quaint old head on, regime change means you change the regime. Not that you just take out a few people at the top of it and they get replaced by other people from the same regime. Secondly, the enriched uranium remains in Iran. None of that has been secured by either the Americans or Israelis as we speak. Thirdly, the Straits of Hormuz remain under the control of the Iranians, which they weren't. It wasn't in control of it before this war started. And it is, despite what you say, they are now charging money. Apparently they want to charge $1 a barrel was the last thing I read. And Trump's all for it because it's going to make everyone rich. So they've got the control of that. They've continued to fire rockets, it seems, at some of their Gulf state neighbours. So I'm looking at this historic victory and I'm thinking, well, where's the victory? What is the victory? Because I don't see it. And forgive me if I take with a pinch of salt this idea
let's try this by historical analogy.
Let me finish my point, you can respond. That apparently we're now supposed to believe that rather like 8-9 months ago, Iran's capability of building a nuclear weapon has been destroyed like it was 9 months ago. Well, why can't they just pop up again in 9 months? They've still got all the enriched uranium.
Exactly. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to literally say, oh, yeah, ceasefire, 2 weeks. But in that 2 weeks, Iran was refueling. Okay, so what? Leave these people alone. Is it far-fetched for us to just leave these people alone? And when I say us, it ain't me. I ain't doing shit. I'm talking about U.S., them niggas. But why we can't just leave people alone? It's not hard. You know, if they want to enrich uranium and get a nuclear bomb so we can have some kind of deterrent, shit, why not? Why not? Why? Do you really believe that we believe that these people who had the capability for years, they're like seeking to annihilate us? That's their goal. They're going every day of their waking life for the last 47 years trying to get all these scientists together in one area to enrich this uranium to 90%. That way they can finally send this missile all the way to America and blow us up. Really? Is that what you want us to believe? I get it. You want the boomers to believe that shit. And they do. They do. But I just heard that we had the top military. And Israel was like close second. Who the fuck is going to allow a nuke to travel all the way the fuck across the Atlantic without being taken out? We all going to see it. And we just going to let it hit? No. So I don't believe this shit that they are sitting there trying to develop something to kill us all. No. That chant they've been having for the last 47 years is the same thing Trump just said, a couple of days ago. Death to Iran. That's what he said. Hey, not literally, but then paraphrasing. But come on, y'all. It's not working. It's not working. So, I think this new generation, I think we're calling your bluff.
Look, I put it to you that the charge sheet against the claim of historic victory is pretty big.
All right, so I'll deal first with that minor point on the enriched uranium, right? President Trump has said untrue. No. I mean, in relation to you saying we lost the war, right? So
I didn't say America's lost the war.
He's he's flailing. He's like this fucking fish out of water that's like he heard what's going on X. Everybody's like, oh shit, America lost. And he thought PIERS said that shit. Nah, nigga, he ain't say nothing about America lost. No. And you just a bot that's like malfunctioning. Damn it. And we didn't lose. Why you say we lost? He didn't. He didn't.
Historic victory, given the checklist I just presented.
Well, let's imagine, if you will, it's January 1942, a month after Hitler declared war on the United States in the aftermath of Pearl Harbor. The current military state of affairs is the entire German Navy is at the bottom of the sea. The Luftwaffe is destroyed. There's complete Allied air superiority over Germany. Hitler, Goering, Bormann, and Himmler are all dead in a massive military strike. And yet the German press is claiming the Germans have managed to shut down trade via some rockets in the Danish Straits. Who's winning?
What? What the fuck were you talking about? I don't even think he knows. And that's the funny part. Because, wait, if I could pick apart your analogy, you're saying that Iran, the Ayatollah, was like Hitler? And the pressure that Hitler was having in the middle of the war, he threw some missiles in the Gulf of the Danish Gulf or something and said, ha, no ships can get by. And it made it seem like Hitler was winning. Is that the crux of your analogy? Really? Hey, dummy. I got a question for you. How much global support did Hitler have? Okay. As you're doing that, okay, hold on. How much global support at that time in 1942 did America have? Huh? Hold on. Okay, when you get those numbers, you tell me, what is the support that Trump has? Wait. Let's make it fun. We got no King's parades going on with millions of people. That's kind of what Trump was hoping out the Iranians. Like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Trump wanted all of the Iranians to stand up, overthrow their government in masses. That way, when the bombing stopped, y'all could take your country back. But meanwhile, American citizens are taken to the streets and flooding the hell out of this whole narrative that he is welcomed or that we support his actions. No, nobody supports Trump, bro. Nobody. So what you trying to use this Hitler analogy? Everybody hated Hitler back then. Yeah. So it wouldn't have worked for him. But with Trump being hated by the majority of the country and doing war crimes with their friend, that is the worst analogy to ever try to use. I'm sorry.
With that analogy, I'm sorry.
In 5 weeks, we have just decimated Iranian military capability. We struck 13,000 targets, and they managed to hit a single plane, and they couldn't even capture the soldiers that fell out of that plane. It's one of the most lopsided military conflicts in history.
On the neighboring Gulf
and the fact that you have a temporary restraint of trade and an increase in gas by $1 a gallon for a month does not change that in the slightest.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
There it is. Mr. Out of Touch. We all see the gas. Sorry, regular is at $5. I use premium. So this motherfucker said, oh, no, it doesn't even matter. Gas prices ain't even changed a bit. Nope, 100%. Fact check me.
Military victory.
Okay, Joe, this is a great victory, and I've lost the plot.
The great victory is the fact that we have a ceasefire, and this could have been much, much worse. However, as opposed to making some like obscure World War II reference, because everything always has to be about World War II, let's just compare the situation between now and just a month ago before the war. The Straits of Hormuz, before this last iteration of war kicked off, the Straits of Hormuz were open for commerce. People and companies could transit that for free.
For free. The free. Now, this $1 a barrel, which I heard was like gonna be paid in Bitcoin. Shit. I also heard like $2 million a ship, and I think that there was some shit where their allies like China and them, they ain't gonna pay shit. That's just for like us, or not us, the U.S.
Stranglehold on that. Our GCC alliance was completely intact. There was still a guarantee of American security. That hadn't been fractured. We had a regime inside of Iran, although they were not the best. It's not exactly what we wanted. They had a prohibition on building a nuclear weapon, and they were involved in active negotiations with us. They were closely adhering to a strict escalation ladder. Their proxies were not attacking us.
What's nonsense? Come on, Will. What's nonsense? Oh, yeah, you're not teaching that PragerU, the fatwa. Yes, the old Ayatollah. The guy, he released black folks and women from being hostage back in 1979. And he also was against a nuclear weapon. Yes. Crazy thing is, he ordered something, put in place something called a fatwa. Is that how you say it? Fatwa? I think so. But yes, he was just okay with enriching uranium for like medical purposes, not for war, not for a bomb. But yes, when Trump came in, fucking started overthrowing all Obama shit, he didn't even care. He just started ripping up everything. He even ripped up the Iran nuclear deal. And that nuclear deal, it basically gave us, permission to see what they were doing. Now, guess what we have? Nothing. No eyewitnesses, no inspectors, nobody just paying attention to the enrichment. Nobody. So yes, Joe's right. So for this dumbass motherfucker with the that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Bro, it's not working no more. Hey, I'm sorry.
Exactly what happened. They
had 60%
were not building
enriched
nuclear
uranium.
weapons.
What do you think they were using that for?
What?
Medical purposes?
If they wanted a bomb, they had decades, long before President Trump ever became the president, to develop a nuclear weapon. There was a prohibition by the Ayatollah which was a reasonable and calculated approach. They didn't want to become like Libya. They didn't want to become like Saddam. They had reached a point where they would keep the capability, but not develop a nuclear weapon.
With Witkoff,
and they were in negotiations with us, and we were not at
and we
war.
won't give up our enrichment rights, and we won't give you up anything diplomatically.
But we were at the negotiating table with them. There was a potential for a deal.
Fake. The Iranian nuclear archive, which is
so now fast forward to where we're at right now. Look at the Straits of Hormuz. Look at the GCC.
Let me ask Will a question, which is, Will, does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Yes, almost certainly.
Why don't we know for a fact?
Because they don't want to say so, because there's American statutes.
Why do they get a pass? Why do they get a pass about that?
Well, because they're our ally. See, it's
so
because we're the good guys.
Okay,
and Iran's the bad guys.
A very interesting admission. So our friends don't need to be transparent about their nuclear capability, but our enemies.
It's going to be America's friend.
But our enemies do.
Yes.
So when we say this shit, when we say this, our Western hubris is the reason why we do the things we do. And then we end up biting ourselves in the ass, right? We were going like pinch a shark, and be like, oh, it has teeth. We didn't know that. It's just crazy to me, and you could tell he just showed us how we feel with our power. Nobody can fuck with us. It's almost like the racist tropes that are told about these people. They believe them. They believe that these people are camel-riding third world beings. It's like, yeah, what? Israel ain't gotta tell you nothing. That's our friend. What? What do you mean? We're America. Did you not know that we're America? We're the ones you want to be friends with. It's good to be our friend.
Well, that's
because we have the B-2 bomber and they don't.
Hypocrisy, isn't it?
No, it's only hypocrisy if you don't have a normative view of whether the United States is good and Iran is bad.
Wow. He said that. Bad people get to do less things than good people. Okay, Will, you look young. Did you hear about the coup in 1953? Ironically, it was a British guy, Churchill, who with us, America, the good guys, yeah, our CIA, we injected a Shah, killed a lot of people, stole a lot of shit. How are we the good guys, Will? We're not, because guess what happened? Even though we were superpower, Iran won their independence back in 1979, and the death to America chant was like risen, not like risen. No, it was brought to life because yes, these people have won their independence from a superpower. Wouldn't you scream death to that enemy too? That bad guy? So yeah, sorry, bro. It's not working. We are more educated now than my parents were. So you can sit back and talk about, oh no, we're America. We're the good guys. Even though we know back in 1988, there was a passenger plane shot down by America. And we pretended like it was an enemy plane that was landing in the Gulf States, but it wasn't. No. Investigation found out that plane was in the air. And it had like 60 kids in it, something like that. And George Bush said, give a fuck. But who cares what the facts are? I will never apologize. Shit. So yeah, Will, there's a lot of history that's not being told, and if it was told, trust me, we wouldn't look like the good guys.
Allowed to refuse to admit whether it has nuclear weapons. There's no reason. They should be
called the International Law Police.
Yeah, check them out. What you gonna do about it, Piers? Nothing. You just gonna sit there and cope.
They're a core ally of the United States, and the United States is the most powerful country in the world. This whole multipolarity talk is just silly. There's a unipolar hegemon in the world. It's the United States. And we're also very benevolent.
Shit. Bro, Israel's getting their ass handed to them right now, Will. And I know you just don't want to believe it. So go ahead. Because I'm actually going to find you on Twitter, and I'm going to follow you. Because I want to see what the hell you got to say once it's actually concrete that we lost this shit. I want to see your motherfucking tweets. I want to hear you fucking crying, coping, bitching, and complaining. Because I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Say America is benevolent. How does that sit with the President of the United States 2 days ago talking about the imminent destruction of an entire civilization?
Oh, you mean like death to America, death to Israel? Right? Like
no,
we've
I'm
dealt
talking
with
about
for 30
Donald Trump.
years.
Trump
throws
Trump
one post out and everybody loses their crap in the middle of a negotiation and signs a ceasefire within 8 hours?
Wow. Think about that. A lot of these people said that we need to invade Iran because they chant death to America. We got to get them. But Trump says death to Iranian civilization. It's okay. It's not that big a deal. Why y'all bitching? He only said it once.
Threatening to annihilate 90 million people in his own words.
McFarland had it right yesterday.
In his
you
own
guys all
words
took the
on his
bait on
post.
that.
Do you not care about that?
I just see it as negotiating bluster. Trump's been doing this stuff for 40
What's
years.
threaten genocide?
I mean, that's exactly what the Iranians have been doing to us. What do you, they had a clock in the middle of their downtown
So America
saying that they were
should
going
be
to
as
destroy the entire country of
amoral-
Israel.
A clock downtown counting down to destroy Israel? Okay, so why are we there? Why are we there? Hey, Will. Did the clock run out? I don't know about that clock. Tell me, when was that clock put up? When did the time run out? Tell me. Because that's a lot of context that is missing from your statement, bruh. But you still conceded and said that there wasn't a clock counting down to the destruction of us, the U.S.
As immoral as its enemies. So what you're saying?
We should be sufficiently ruthless to get our negotiated pieces that actually make sense, which we seem to have done here. Apparently, this focused the Iranians' mind and made them realize they should come to the table.
Are you aware that threatening to commit an act of genocide in itself could be presented as a war crime?
No. What do you mean? It is?
I think that would be frivolous.
Really?
Again, send the International Law of Police to the White House if you want.
Damn. So, international law, it actually means nothing if you think about it. Because I remember when this whole Israel and Hamas situation was going on, you had Anthony Blinken telling us straight up. What was his name? What was the guy named? Matt. What's his last name? But yeah, they used to come up tell us all the time why these Palestinian children needed to die. They just kept on making excuses for it. They would say straight up, we would see doctors come in and say, hey, yeah, we had treated some kids with bullet wounds to the head. Snipers from far away. Shooting babies in the head. So, we hear that kind of information. We're like, that. Okay, how are you in danger? That far away. And you shot a baby in the head. And of course, they kept using the whole human shield shit. And we're like thinking, like, so wait. Hamas was in the baby's head? Like, it wasn't resonating with the rest of us. That's why Israel lost so much support, because you couldn't fool us. You couldn't fool us. We were literally screaming at the fucking TV, our phone, and we're like, bro, you can't be gaslighting us like that. No, you're not going to get away with killing thousands of innocent Palestinians and nobody say anything. Sorry. So, yeah. The West have lost the moral high ground.
Ken, what's remarkable is there's a kind of arrogance to the way Will is talking. Like, none of this matters. I think it does matter. I've known Trump a long time. I consider him a friend. But on this, I think he's lost the plot. And I think the idea that from the White House, you issue a statement in your own words threatening the annihilation of an entire civilization, an entire country of 90 million Iranians, I thought was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful, and could well be a crime.
I'm glad that President Trump's tactic worked out and we have a ceasefire. I think what's critical is that we make sure that we keep the Straits of Hormuz open, get the negotiating table. We have to hold back Israel to make that happen. If our goal was to make sure that Iran didn't get a nuclear weapon or that other states that we're adversarial with get a nuclear weapon, we just set a horrible example here because Iran showed that they were going to play ball with us, that they were in the negotiation process, that they just wanted some enrichment. And yet we came in and we killed the leader that put that prohibition on. The lesson that the other people who are coming up in the ranks and the Iranian regime have learned is that they better get a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, this is going to happen to them too.
Yep. And that's the funny part because these dumbasses don't realize it. You guys just set the table for everyone to be a nuclear power. It's a deterrent. Yes. We don't hear shit about Kim Jong-un no more. No. That's all they can say. He's getting ready to build a rocket. He's getting ready to build a rocket. Guess what? Yep. He built that damn rocket.
Vindicated countries in this whole exchange has been North Korea, who obtained a nuclear weapon for this very reason. So if we want to make sure that countries that we're adversarial with or rogue countries don't try to develop a nuclear weapon, the second one of them gets to the negotiating table, the last thing that we should do is go and launch a regime change war, a decapitation strike against that leadership. So I think the lesson learned here is that now this galvanized, harder generation of IRGC officers and Ayatollahs are going to take over Iran. They better get a nuclear weapon. And that's going to be a major problem for us going forward. So that's why we need to take this round of negotiations very seriously. I hope President Trump used that talk, that bolster, that bluster to get them to the negotiating table. But there's only so many different times that you can use that. So the next time, if these negotiations don't go well and President Trump says, like, I'm going to annihilate you, that might not have the exact same effect. So
it won't have.
I think we have to be very careful with our language.
That's the point, Will. You know, I made the point yesterday. You become the boy that cried wolf, the emperor with no clothes.
That's true. Now everybody's going to listen to his little truths as lies.
And then nothing happens. Well, you know, you become a bit of a lame duck in terms of your threats. I mean, I would put to you this.
Oh, did you want him to follow through?
No, of course not.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Really? That's how their brain works. Oh, did you want him to do it? No, we didn't. Hey, we didn't want him to say it. There's something going on. I swear. I think there's something in the water at Ben Shapiro's house.
Here's what's interesting. Trump welcomed the 10-point plan as if it was somehow brand new, which it wasn't. But the 10-point plan, which he says is very workable in terms of the negotiations. Let's just go through this, and I'll ask you, how many of these do you think are acceptable? Number one, the Iranians want commitment to non-aggression. Number two, Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz.
This is just totally misconceived. Like, from the outset, he said that the 10 points, he just truthed about this. The 10 points that the reporters are saying, the ones you're quoting from, are not the basis on which he said.
Well, these are the 10 points, according to the Iranian media.
So shut up. You see how he tried to interrupt? No. Wait, he truthed already. That's not what he is agreeing to. Bro, hey, this is the truth too. He said that, oh man, these 10 points, shit, they're kind of egregious, but I think we can think about them, make them work.
It's not what Trump has agreed to, and he's repeatedly said this is not the thing he's workable. And he put out a slew of truths today saying he's going to continue to insist full dismantlement of the Iranian nuclear program, return of the highly enriched uranium, which again, this whole idea that there was a peaceful fatwa, remember, they had 60% enriched uranium, 11 kilograms or 450 kilograms worth of it, enough for 11 bombs.
Talking point. Listen, when you can't even get your talking points together, when you think it's 11 kilograms because you heard about the 11 bombs, we don't care about the 400 kilograms that you meant to say. No. This is all looking like a straight up psyop. To me, personally, I think they are holding the strings that are attached to Trump's back. Who are they? Don't know. You can put they to whoever. But right now, it just seemed like this son of a bitch is like, no. That's not what he was supposed to say. What he said was a slew of tweets that was debunking what he said earlier.
Point plan. In fact, he doesn't at all.
What he's looking for I think the basis for the negotiations is something that's much more favorable to the United States.
Okay.
And
So why would he?
clarify that.
So why would he say then he welcomes the 10-point plan?
Well, I think he was thinking of a different plan in his mind.
Okay. Yo, I need some cheese for these pretzels these motherfuckers turn themselves into. This shit's crazy, bro. Like, I get it. I got one eye. But come on. I believe this lying motherfucker. I'm sorry. Y'all don't want us to believe our lying eye? Like, come on, man. Come on. That's not what he meant to say. He's probably thinking about a deal in his head. Bruh. Like, who does this shit work on? Honestly. Our grandparents. Yeah, it did. Shit.
Come
But
off
like
it, Will.
future posts,
You know what? The
further
worst
posts
thing
clarify
about
that's
this,
not what he was thinking
the
of.
worst thing
And I don't
about
know why
all
on
this,
earth he would agree to that.
the
And it doesn't
the
make sense.
torturous knots that people have pulled on with their
You
own.
can literally just read his truth feed. He's like, and
It's not truthful.
White House rapid response on this. They've been like,
His
no,
truth
this
feed,
isn't true.
ironically-
Obviously, it's not true because if Iran was getting these kind of concessions out of the United States, they'd have also been able to save Hezbollah, but they can't even do that.
He went back to Hezbollah. He did. He is like harping on. It's almost like the talking points that he was emailed this morning. They're like running out. He's on the like paragraph that he couldn't get to. So he's like rehashing that previous paragraph. He's like, shit, damn, they're cooking me. I need a safe word. Hezbollah. Yeah. Bruh, wait. You bringing them up again. Now you're going to make me bring up what I said earlier in this video about Ben-Gvir or Smoltrich, one of them niggas. Son was just killed by Hezbollah fire earlier this year. The people who were supposedly gone from pagers a few years ago. So, hey, PragerU, I don't even know who he is, but he has this fucking Shabu's fucking vibe to him, and it's embarrassing for him.
Okay, well, actually, it turns out that right now, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz again and says it will not reopen as long as Israel's attacking Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Now what? Exactly. And you over here with this Hezbollah shit. Hey. That was a part of the plan. Hey, you better stop bombing Hezbollah or else. And then you can see all these motherfuckers on X. You got all these pro-Israeli accounts crying. There's like, oh, wait a minute. We had a ceasefire and already bombs are dropping on Israel. Yes. These motherfuckers crying that Iran was still launching missiles into Israel 2 hours after the ceasefire. Okay, well, forgive me, because I could be mistaken. Was there a ceasefire between Iran and Israel? Because I didn't recall. I thought it was between the U.S., us, and Iran. That's what I thought it was. So yeah, what y'all over there crying about, oh, look at them, they violating the ceasefire. No, the fuck they not. No, they not. Because they had shit to do with Israel. But Iran said, oh, you need a Chiron. I got you. You want me to go ahead and revise this 10-point plan, turn it into 11, and say, hey, also, leave Hezbollah alone. So they did.
It sounds like they put a new condition on the deal. Perhaps they'll get struck again. That's probably very unwise of the Iranians.
Is it, or is it wielding the most powerful tool in this whole war, which turns out to be a little piece of waterway, which they can exercise control over and strangle and paralyze the global economy?
That didn't stop the United States from striking 13,000 targets over a period of 5 weeks, completely decimating the American military, the Iranian military.
None of that involves...
If it was that powerful, it should have been able to stop that from happening and force an earlier ceasefire. It wasn't.
Wow. Think about that. PIERS just told him the straits closed again after the negotiation or the 10-point not plan. I wonder why it's closed. Maybe it has something to do with the power they actually have? Huh? Because y'all keep saying that shit. Y'all keep saying, oh, they ain't got no motherfucking military no more. They can't be doing shit. They ain't about to do nothing. They ain't about nothing. Iran is done so. But they literally are launching missiles into Israel after the ceasefire? Just so they can keep the strait open? Think about that. Huh? Wait a minute. Huh? Light bulb. So, you mean to tell me that our military objectives was about securing the enriched uranium and making sure that the ballistic missile program was monitored, right? Right. Israel, they want a whole regime change, right? Okay, so right now with this 2-week ceasefire, Israel start crying. They say, hey, they still bombing us. Iran's like, hey, we'll leave y'all alone too. We just wanted to leave the Americans alone, but we can leave y'all alone too. We got you. You just gotta leave Hezbollah in southern Lebanon alone. You mean to tell me our Israeli buddies, they cannot stop bombing Lebanon? You mean to tell me that's their thing? They have to do it? They're like, oh, please let us take over. We need to move our borders to the Litani River. Like, really? Bruh. Stop it. Because now you're showing us that Israel is dragging us into this further conflict. Because we just had a two-week ceasefire. Hey, we're good. Why is our friend still being belligerent?
The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. So how successful is it?
I mean, honestly, you guys, everybody's just overblowing the Straits of Hormuz closure vis-a-vis the United States. We're the largest oil producer in the world. It's good for us if oil prices go up.
Just to be clear, Will, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, by most experts' analysis, has been the single greatest shock in a negative way to the global economy ever.
Well, that can't be true because oil prices were higher in the at the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war.
No.
Damn. And that's that. These people are stupid. They won't know the difference, bro. Hey, Will. Hey, he said, global. Hey, global. So during the Ukraine-Russia conflict, you think the Gulf regions were hurting?
This has had a greater negative impact on the global economy specific to energy of anything we've seen ever. And it's going to get worse.
I mean, again, then why did the price spike even more at the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war?
I know you're a facts guy. Go and check the facts.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure somebody said that. I'm just saying, if you can't explain that discrepancy, I think you're overstating things.
All the economic analysts have said the same thing.
Stupid. And that's the funny part. Like, bro, what makes you think that you have the answers and everybody else is wrong? It's like, hey, somebody probably said that somewhere, but who are they? Huh? Consider the source. Huh? Really? Come on, Will. You're showing everybody how biased you are and that everything that comes out your fucking mouth need to be taken with a bucket of salt. Because we're not going to believe a fucking thing that you say. Nothing. You're disgusting. You're arrogant, and you're like, yeah, I don't even care what the professionals say. Even if they're like some fucking a group of people with a Pew Research, you still won't even give a fuck. You're like, I didn't read it, so.
First energy shock that we've ever seen, ever. But look, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it's kind of a trivial detail.
The complete destruction of the Iranian military.
Let me get that out real quick. Don't forget about the military is destructive.
All right, look, I've got to leave it there. Joe, last word to you.
If you want. Position.
Joe, last word to you.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, now the Iranians are in even a stronger position than they were prior to this war. The last 20 plus years of GWAT has shown us that we can basically take out targets, we can strike targets all day, and our enemies will endure simply by not losing, and they will use the leverage of the geography that they have at their disposal to have an effect that we can't sustain, and that's the position that we're in right now.
Again, Python.
That's why exactly
That's
I
what you
hope that
sound
President
like.
Trump
They've lost their
uses this
military capability.
opportunity.
They can be as mad as they want. If they're throwing rocks, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but if they're closing,
all they
the
have to
Strait
do
of
is be able
Hormuz-
to affect the straits, and they can have a strategic effect.
Yeah.
They understand that now. They probably didn't understand that or weren't willing to use it prior to this iteration of war. And that's why President Trump is at the negotiating table right now, because he realizes the effect that was having on the American economy. And he made the right decision. I think President Trump made the right decision to get to the negotiating table. So now we have to pursue our objective, which is getting the straits open and maintaining this ceasefire and holding together the alliances that we have in the Gulf. And so to do that, we've got to restrain our junior partner, the Israelis.
Okay, I've got to leave it there. Thank you both very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Strain our partner, the Israelis. I don't know if you mean like strain them, literally. But we need to cut ties. That $3.8 billion could be used elsewhere. Yes. But that is what you called I don't give a fuck about nobody else. On full display. PIERS was trying to help him. He was trying to help him like, hey, bro, hey, you ain't got to be so brazen. Say this shit like in code. You're saying the quiet parts out loud. You don't have to. But he don't care. They are so paranoid right now, the Israelis. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. They are mad that this shit is not going their way. It looked like they're losing the war, and now they're taking it out on South Lebanon. Fucking crazy. And now they're really telling everybody, we don't give a fuck about you or your feelings. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of posturing going on. And I'm sorry, that community, they're attacking everybody. They're flexing. And their arms are small. I don't know. That little bicep they're doing, it's like, it's not intimidating no more. So I think that's what's happening. They're getting scared. You got this little Ben Shapiro light coming out here trying to get us all riled up and say, you know who the boss is. If y'all over here don't realize these brown people got to go and we don't give a fuck about no international law. And I guess you're proving Kanye right.